Even with his flashing lights and sirens, the car continued to drive the wrong way down the freeway. As the two vehicles approached the Truckee Canyon, Trooper Gibson knew he no longer could follow the car down the wrong way. So he sped ahead of the drunk driver and shined his spotlight over to oncoming traffic, hoping to alert them that something was wrong. And if you could just leave this picture up, Laurel, of my family. Next, I'm going to read the letter that I wrote to the trooper that saved my life, because it's a very clear picture of it from my perspective that night. So I would ask that you just imagine that you are in the car with me, please. Trooper Gibson, I wanted to take a moment to write you a letter to let you know how forever grateful I am for the fine job that you do. I think people in your line of duty hear this far less often than they should. Let me just take a moment to tell you the story from my perspective regarding the crash near Painted Rock on December 1st, 2012, around 9 p.m. My family and I had just finished having dinner and doing a little bit of Christmas shopping in Sparks with my father, who was in town, before heading home to Fernley. We were about 5 minutes from Fernley when I see an officer driving really fast with his lights on towards Reno. I thought it was strange, because normally you don't see this so far from Reno. So I comment to my husband, "Where's that cop going so fast with his lights and sirens?" My husband, a trooper himself, says with a very obvious tone in his voice, "Probably an accident. Just a thought, Jackie." Me, realizing I just asked a stupid question, we started laughing. Moments later, as time is kind of a blur, I hear my husband yell with a very concerning voice. And anybody who knows my husband knows this doesn't happen often. "That car is in your lane!" I look, and sure enough, I see these headlights coming straight at us. I thought to myself, "Oh my God, you're right." I don't remember what else was said. I just felt like everything was in slow motion. I took the wheel, got into the other lane, as if I had all the time in the world. I'm so thankful that I did not panic and that I did not overcorrect, because at a moment like this, I believe most people would. If my husband did not yell to me and make me well aware I needed to get out of the way, I would have never seen this coming. You are constantly seeing headlights going in the opposite direction, so to then see them coming straight at you is, one, hard to differentiate, and two, a major shock. After barely, I am talking 1 second longer, would have been too long, getting my car into the other lane, I look up into the rearview mirror and I see the truck behind me swerve. And then I see fishtailing. I see sparks flying from something smashing into the guardrail. I see a car up in the air, and then total chaos. I immediately start shaking, realizing what happened in panic. "Oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. Oh my God." I paused for a second and realized, my dad. Where's my dad? "Babe, my dad is back there." My husband calmly says, "Jackie, you are fine. Your dad is okay. I can see his headlights. He's right behind us." My husband, thinking the car that is now pulled over behind us is my dad, he then says without any hesitation, as if he personally has been in situations like this before, "I need to see if anybody needs help." He then jumps out of the car and runs towards the tragedy that laid behind me. I look behind me, and this is the first time I see my two little boys safely buckled into their car seats with their shining eyes. My 4-year-old asks, "What happened, Mom? Is everything okay?" I think he could feel the panic that had overwhelmed me. I responded, "It's okay, Cameron. Everything is okay." Then I step out of my car. I go to the passenger side. At this point, I'm standing there, feeling so scared, helpless, and shaking from nearly missing the tragedy that was right in front of my eyes. Being a nurse, I wanted so badly to help, knowing people needed it, but I couldn't leave my car because thankfully my 2 boys were safely buckled into their car seats as if nothing just happened. I now see cars all over the road, clouds of smoke, people yelling, people crying. I hear somebody counting as they're doing chest compressions on somebody dying, all the while not knowing where my dad is. These images are ones that will forever be painted in my mind. It truly was a living nightmare not many people lived through to tell their story. And maybe that is why I feel the desire to let my voice be heard. I have been married to a trooper for over 5 years, but until this moment, I truly never understood what he did at work while he's away from his loved ones. My dad finally came up to my car, gave me a hug, and said, "I'm okay, Jackie, but somebody back there's dying." My dad looked pale as a ghost. He, just like me, was in shock. It was a miracle that we were both still alive. He told me, as a father, to see your child and her entire family almost die is awful. I would have died if that car hit you, Jackie. My father, being 3 cars back, and one of the cars she hit, experienced the entire thing with me. He said, "All of a sudden I see headlights coming straight at you. You swerved just in time. Jackie, you only had 1 second to get out of the way. I am so glad you got out of the way." I sat on the side of that freeway for over 3 hours that night, still in shock by what had just happened. That driver may have only hit 3 cars that night, but there were more people than that affected. My life will forever be changed. There's no possible way somebody can walk away from a situation like this and be unaffected. I find out later from my husband that he saw you with your spotlight shining towards our side of the freeway, and he said that usually means you are looking for something. I believe without a doubt that this is what made my husband's instincts kick in, and he was more alert, giving him time to see what was coming at us. I had 2 troopers save my life that night, my amazing husband, and you, Trooper Gibson. I am forever grateful for you trying to do everything you could to get the wrong way driver to stop. I would not be here right now to tell my story. I wanted you to get the recognition you deserve for a job well done. Thank you. Trooper Gibson, since you are not the only person I am giving this letter to, I must also take a moment to thank my husband, Rob Conley, because he still will not give himself credit. That night, he pulled the driver out of her car while it was on fire. He also helped the passenger that was hit head-on, who was stuck in his truck. I think everybody would have stood there in shock if my husband was not immediately there to assist everybody. My husband acted so selflessly, even after his entire family nearly missed a head-on collision. He acted like a true hero. With that being said, I still cannot thank you enough for the courageous job that you do. Your family and coworkers should be proud. I am forever grateful. Sincerely, Jackie Conley, Trooper Conley's wife. Head-on collisions. Head-on collisions are one of the deadliest car crashes because it doubles your speed. My head-on collision would have been at a speed of over 140 miles per hour. That is why I'm certain I would not be standing here today if I did not have that one precious second to get my car out of the way. Most likely, no one in my car would have survived. The wrong-way driver hit the boat trailer of the car directly behind me, then the green truck behind him, then my father, who was behind him. The wrong-way driver was drunk. Later, The driver's blood alcohol content was found to be over 3 times the legal limit. This is the wrong way drunk driver's car. She had 2 previous DUIs. She died in the crash. This is one of the victim's vehicles. The passenger of this truck was the one who was stuck and was taken to the hospital by ambulance. And this is after she struck a boat trailer in front of him. And this is just a picture of me reading my thank you letter to Trooper Gibson for saving my family's life. This is a picture of my 2 little boys that were in the back of the car. Thank you, Trooper Gibson, for saving our lives and our mom and dad. We need them, and we are much too young to die. The aftermath. I did not sleep well for days following the crash. I saw nothing but those headlights and images of the crash site that kept replaying in my head. I completely had no appetite and lost 5 pounds in 1 week. I could not focus at work or home. For 25 days following the crash, I lost all desire to do things I love. Working out, playing with my 2 sons, preparing for Christmas. Things seemed pointless, knowing how quickly everything I have worked so hard for can be taken from me in an instant. The world felt dark and depressing. Then finally, on December 26th, I realized I needed to start living again. And though part of me will always feel like I died that night, I am still here. I am still here because I am a mother of 2 young boys who need a mother to guide them into their lives as young men who will become productive citizens in the community and the world. I am a wife who took vows to stand by my husband, not until I was killed by a drunk driver, but long into our rocking chair days. I am a daughter to parents who don't deserve to bury their children. I am a sister to siblings that need my advice, my support, my love. I am a friend to people who enjoy me, can count on me, and can make them laugh when they need it. I am a nurse who enjoys helping people when they need it most, through procedures, surgeries, and just listening when they need someone to talk to. I am now an activist who is willing to share my experience so that others may avoid ruining their own lives or someone else's family over a few drinks. There's not one single day that I have not thought about that night. There are still moments of overwhelming sadness, knowing how close my 2 boys were to growing up without parents, if they would have even survived the crash. My focus in life has completely changed. I will never stop talking about drinking and driving because its effects are devastating to many innocent people. Please don't drink and drive.